It's the next day, and before I finish that thing I'm making, I've got to start another thing. So before I can start that, I've left this place in one hell of a mess, and I can barely get around my table again. So I'm going to spend half hour making this a bit more tidy and easier to make stuff, and less chance I'm going to trip on something and break my neck. So I'm going to do that, and then it'll be nice and clean. And half hour later, it is a lot tidier. I can actually walk around my table and not break my freaking neck. So let's take stock of what I've got to build my next thing with. I've got 5 of these long beams down here, and some offcuts down here. There's quite a lot of offcuts down here. That should be enough. Plus sheet material, I have all these random pieces of ply. This piece of ply that I'm not sure I'm going to need. Definitely going to need some of this thicker 18mm stuff. And I've got loads of MDF. I've got these offcuts here, a crap ton of long skinny pieces down here, and these huge pieces over here. There's some bigger ones back there. Now what am I making? This isn't going to be, oh, and this stack of stuff up here, of course. I've got wood for days. What am I making? This isn't a big secret. This one is going to be 60s themed, and it is, can you tell what it is? There we go. It is the Dr. Evil chair from the second Austin Powers movie, the one where they travel back to the 60s in their time machine. So yeah, Dr. Evil chair. Now the plan with this is to make it totally static. It's not going to rotate or anything. Because the idea is to drop this off at a Comic-Con and just forget about it all day. And if it has any moving parts and things, then there's a chance, or a bigger chance, that people are going to be stupid on it and hurt themselves. So it's going to be a static prop, solid as hell. So hopefully that doesn't happen. So the base is going to be made slightly wider, probably by simply attaching this to a square base as well. The whole thing's going to be made of wood, with the exception of probably the back here will most likely be covered in some sort of artificial leather, vinyl type stuff. Today all I want to really get done is this bottom bit and the main part of the seat. So essentially I've got myself a stall. But that's the plan. Now where do I start? Not entirely sure. Now I scaled these pictures up to with this grid on it, and I can't exactly remember what, I should have written it down, what a square equals. I think a square might be, I don't know, I have to get the ruler out and measure. I'm sure I've set the seat height the same height as a standard seat, so we'll figure that out, and then I can get cracking, making some measurements and some wood and cutting some stuff. So when I scaled those plans, I've scaled them to the height of an actual chair, and this chair is roughly-ish 18 inches tall. That'll do, it's probably 18 and a half, but whatever, 18 inch is what I'm gonna go for. So I've measured this on here, and it's 6 squares high. So 18 divided by 6 means one of those squares is 3 inches. I had the forethought to plan all that out, but didn't actually write down what it was when I did it. So I can use this little grid I've got here to hopefully be able to just copy straight from these plans I've got to replicate this in real life. Now these are just pictures I got off of, I can't remember the website, but I just searched Dr. Evil chair 3D model. This came up, and I just screen grabbed that. And here we are. So where do I start? Probably the bit you sit on. I'm going to go for that bit first, make the bits that go down, and then make a thing to put it on. Well, I've cut my 18-inch square out. That's going to be the seat. God knows how there's a tyre track on it, but whatever. Now I'm going to bulk up the sides with some of this wood. And I'm having to be very picky with which wood I use, because the stuff I bought the other day, the brand spanking new stuff, is really lightweight, and it's the exact same stuff as this older stuff I've got here from a previous project, but it just seems harder and denser. But this piece here is really solid, but it's all the same stuff. Why some of it is really light and some's really dense and some's somewhere in between, I do not know. I just know that the dense stuff is obviously it's going to add more weight to this, but it will also add strength. So where the arms are going to attach on the side, I'm going to use the dense stuff, and anything that needs to be just for bulking it up and prettying it up will be the lightweight bullcrap stuff. So I'm going to use this really dense stuff for the back actually, this kind of medium-ish stuff for the sides, and then when nothing's attaching, the weak stuff for the front. And that's the plan. So I'm going to cut these to size with my chop saw, and then we should have a framework for this seat. Oh dear. I'm making the first bit and it appears I've done it wrong. I've done this 18 inch by 18 inch. I look at my thing, I'm like, hang on a minute. It needs to be 21 inches deep to account for the back. So I'll refer you to the sign I made myself and say, fuck. Right, these are screwed on. I just kept the same 18 by 18. What I'm going to do for the back, I don't know yet. I'll figure that out when I come to it. But first of all, I'm going to screw these on. These are going to be the legs, or the big middle leg, suit you, sir. They need to be put there in such a way that they are 7.5 inches square, and then I'll encase this with some of that delightful sheet wood I've got over there. Oh no, if I do it 7.5 inches, well, that stuff, it'll make it fatter. Let's go for a 7-inch square, then I'll add the stuff. Now, how can I draw a perfect square in the middle of this? Well, I've already done it. Easy way to do that is take this. This is 3.5 inches. It's 15 inch across here. So this, draw around it on all the sides, will give me a perfect 8-inch square dead center, which is a little bit too big to what I need. So I just need to then take my ruler and measure in a centimetre or whatever to bring it in ever so slightly. And then sorted, easy peasy. Right, now that's that internal square, a centimetre in from all the edges marked out. I now need to put these holes in it. Now, how do I get these holes in here? And I made myself a very cheap and nasty little jig thingy here, just a piece of cardboard. And I put that over the end of all of my bits of wood. And then when I'm attaching them to another bit of wood, I can also stick that on the end here like this. And that makes all my holes line up, and I can do exactly the same thing by just laying this down in the corner there and marking the holes. One thing you do have to keep in mind, especially when you're drilling through relatively thick stuff, is the drill might wander at a weird angle as you're going through. So you want the end that you're going to attach this to be the end you drill, the side you're drilling into. So as this is going to go in the underside here, I need to drill from the underside, not the other side, because it might come out all wonky. So I'm going to drill those 8 holes, and I should better attach the legs. Right, so I've got my 4 legs pre-drilled out with a 4mm drill bit. Now I use the same size screws for everything, only the lengths vary, and these are 5mm diameter screws, so they fit nice and tight in the 4mm holes. I put those in there just enough so the little spiky things come out the back. That way I can line these holes up with those, and then just screw through. It has legs. What do I do now? Probably make the base, and then I'll be able to sit on it. So here's the plan. I'm going for a 2 foot by 2 foot square base, and I'm going to set the seat slightly forward. 2 reasons. 1, if the back's on this and it's quite back heavy, I want a bit more behind it to help stabilize it. And 2, I don't want it to flare out at the front, because if it does, you'll have to have your legs at such a weird angle. That's better clear your legs, so your heels aren't touching it. So I'm going to trim that off to make that 2 foot by 2 foot, and then I'm going to stick some of these things along the edge, and probably something in the middle to maybe support it as well. Well, I marked out that square in the middle there in the same way as I did the one on the underside of that, and I've got those holes already drilled. Before I screw that together, I've added this bit, that's to stop this from bowing at all in the middle, so this will make contact with the floor as well, give it extra support. And I've already drilled those in the end there using my little template thingy. So I'm going to go ahead and screw these through this into this, and next time you see me, I should be sat on my little stool all smug. I'm sat down on the job. That's because we have a cool little storm. Is it strong? Ow, that'll be my fucking head. But yeah, I'd say it's strong enough. So that's that good. I've left that extra bit at the back there, like I said earlier, to account for the fact that the back of this slants back slightly, and I don't want it to tip over. Not that I think it will, but just in case. So that'll probably be the next thing to do. I think I'm going to make it so the arms stay on this, but the back comes off, because overall height is like 5'6"-ish, and having a ginormous back to it might make it a bit of a pain in the butt to fit through doors and things. So I'm going to make the back slot in. So I might work on a slotty thing and a basic framework thing using those long bits of wood for the back, and then I'm going to need to get some special wood to make these things, because they are 7.5 inches wide, and the thickest wood I've got is only 3.5 inches wide. That's probably going to be very freaking expensive. Also, I want to take these back onto my computer and make a template for these things, because they're a bit of a weird shape. I could probably draw it up, but I can much easier just blow it up on the computer and print it out. So I'm going to do one last little bit of woodworking today, and that is to make some sort of brackety thing for the back of this to fit the back of the chair on. You know, when I said those 5 beams are the only ones I had left over, I lied. I forgot I had a big stash of wood down here. Yeah. Anyway, luckily this one here is one of the really dense, solid, heavy type. It's going to be perfect for this. Now, as I said earlier, I deliberately cut this not 21 inches long, so I'd have plenty of space at the back to make some sort of framework, so I can have this piece slanted back. So yeah, of course, when I made this 18 by 18, despite measuring 21 inches along there, I planned that. So I've added this little framework section in to the back here. I've had to replace these bits to make them come out as far as this, just to add strength to it, as this is going to support the entire weight of the back of the chair. Now, how's it going to work? Well, these gaps here are as wide as one of these, with little floors in there, and cut these just to test. They'll slot in there, and they lean back at just the right amount. And to give an idea of what that'll look like when there's a back on it, I'm just going to use this piece of thin flexy wood for now. So that would be the kind of angle, I mean that will be the angle that the back of the chair will be. Structurally, that's all of it done, with the exception of the arms. So not bad for a day's graft. I can't do the arms because 1, I've run out of time, and 2, I don't have the right size piece of wood. So that's it for today. I will be back doing some more of this after the weekend.